Everybody, Mike Lindsley back for an ML Sports Take brought to you by Batavia Downs Gaming and St. Bonaventure University's online Masters in Journalism. Go ahead and visit sbujournalism.com for more information. Become a Bonnie today in under 2 years. Your Masters in Sports, Digital Journalism. It's all there at sbujournalism.com. So get this, I'm about 5.5 minutes into the recap video and my phone dies. Now I can do it on the phone and look at the computer with the box score. My phone's dead right now. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll just go to StreamYard. I'm going to do my recording like I do when I have guests and all that. So you get the background tonight. You get a little, where are we at here? We get the Finished Dreams newspaper from the BV in the background. You get a little Derek Jeter. You get some, you get a bunch of stuff in here. This is the official cave, by the way. It's actually where my mom used to teach some music lessons on occasion. But just to show the Bona faithful out there, it kind of goes all the way around. I'm still adding a ton more here to this wall. And then little tribute corner right there for my mom. So tough time of year. But anyways, let's do a recap, shall we? And I'll probably go to the box score on the phone. Technology, man. You can't you can't make it up. I thought I had about 20%. Anyways, let's do this. This game was really, really, really frustrating in the first half. I didn't think St. Bonaventure had that much of control in this game. I thought they left a lot of meat on the bone. They left a lot of offensive points out there. Not great execution offensively. We saw probably the entire first half, just missed opportunities. Some guys coming around screens and passes weren't as crisp when guys were coming around. A couple of guys keyed some moments, keyed some runs. I mean, again, Simmons was great. A little bit of a fast physical game again for Big Joe. I'll get to him in a moment, but Robert Morris brought the physicality. Robert Morris brought the tenacity. Robert Morris brought the rebounding. I mean, they went in there and they really played hard. There was a 7-0 run and an 8-0 run in there that, again, college basketball is a game of runs overall. But I thought even up 4 after halftime, you kind of sat there and said, geez, there's still some points that have been left out there. And then they get into the second half, and a lot of those passes, again, they weren't as crisp. There were points in time where, Lunati, he didn't know that there was a defender behind him, and the ball gets tipped from behind. And I think that was the one where it got tipped to the sideline, but I think Schmidt called the timeout in time. So there were some frustrating moments in this game for sure. And Bonnie's really didn't seem like they were in control of a lot of things until, in my opinion, about 12 minutes or so to go in this game, when on the defensive end, I thought they really started to, and Schmidt figured out rotation, and they started to really play with an IQ on defense and cutting off angles and stopping, a lot of the Robert Morris ball movement and rotations and the ball coming off the rim, and Bona would get more rebounds, which then created, and there were a lot of great plays in the second half. The fast break with the pass down, you had the pass by Big Joe, and I'll get again to him in a second because there was a moment where I was waiting for him to get in the game. You had the alley-oop was insane. I thought Mitchell was great in this game again. When you look at him and he is in the paint, and I talked about this before this game with the Bonnie's Bills back-to-back video. You can go back and watch that on the YouTube channel, which please subscribe at ML Sports Platter. And I think the color man even said, like, Mitchell, they have Mitchell and Robert Morris does not. And that was a big part of this game, right? Like points in the paint and all the rest. Big Joe is still, again, he's going to be a work in progress here. You like his skill set. He can shoot it, but he can't create his own shot. He's slow on D. And in a game like this, again, like Siena, like Youngstown, like Carolina coming up, like some A-10 teams coming up, you got to just wait for his time, his turn. Maybe when a physical speed team, a team that's getting after it like Robert Morris tonight, they start to slow down because you're getting them more on defense. Well, I was sitting there waiting, and I'm like, maybe Big Joe comes in here, gives me a little spark on offense. Boom. About a minute later, Big Joe comes into the game. There's a design play. He goes off the screen, a little pop-out 3, bang. And I thought that was a big just jolt moment, for the Bonnies. And then you have to, you got to look out for him at that point. If he's going to make a 3-pointer, he's going to stretch the defense, and then you have more options out there. I love the way the Bonnies guards crash the boards. going back to even my day with Timmy Wynn and J.R. Bremer and even Prado from Argentina could rebound. You go into this, all these guys we've seen the last several years, the Jay Adamses and the Posleys and all these guys, right? Even Council last year. I mean, these guys, Bonnet guards have always been able to rebound. They've always been able to crash the boards, and I just love that about them. I'm just going to pull up the box score too, so I can kind of go back and look at a few things, but I just thought in the second half there was a lot more control. I thought that the possessions were better. The Bonnies, again, landing a couple of big rebounds on the defensive side. 12-minute mark, 10-minute mark. There were a couple of big spots and stretches. And frankly, let's be honest right now. I mean, the Bonnies, they won by 14, but it didn't really feel like they were going to win by that margin. I just wanted to pull up the play-by-play here because there were a couple of moments I thought in the second half. Just wanted to get my timing right here. You go all the way down here. Let's see. Right around, let's see, the Bonnies had a 7-point lead. It was a little bit later than that. 9-point lead. D makes a 3-point shot. Ball movement was getting a little bit better there, but it was kind of even deeper than that, right? They made a couple of free throws. It gets down to like probably 7 right in that area, that 11-minute mark, 11 and a half minute mark, right? And then all of a sudden you kind of go through and you're like, oh yeah, like not a lot of teams were scoring. They got another bucket to cut it to 8, I guess it would have been, when they're, kind of going back and forth. And again, Bonaventure, I thought it was a kind of a different team in the second half. And that's another thing that you're going to kind of watch for, right? Because we know that the Schmidt teams in the second half, especially at home, we've always labeled like, well, they're a second half team. If they're sleepwalking first, they're a second half team. But again, you can't really do that in the portal NIL era because they haven't played together that long. It's just kind of like a historical thing for Schmidt's teams. But I thought Mark had some great play calls in the second half. Have you heard about his playbook by any broadcaster? Has anybody ever brought that up before? That he has 262,000 plays? I don't know. I don't know if that's ever been brought up. But going back to the Hill 2-point tip shot, that made it a 7-point game with under 10. That was another big moment. Hill then gets another bucket, and it was 5. So there was a point in time where Bonaventure was getting the defensive rebounds and more clampdowns and closing angles and getting rebounds and getting it back and the kind of building the lead. But then Robert Morris came back in a 2-3 minute stretch to answer. So now you're like, okay, is this going to be a haymaker back and forth game? 5-point game there with 8 to go. And then a couple of free throws. D makes the big, makes a couple of free throws himself. And then you go into a big, under 7 moment with that big spark where Big Joe makes the 3-pointer. I mean, I'm telling you, I thought that was a huge moment in the game. And then Charles is just, he is such a glue guy and aggressive and just is. There's a ball on the floor, he's going to scrap for it. He can shoot a 3 and get open. He can move without the basketball. He can handle the rock. He can get a big bucket. And they have some guys on this team who can get some big buckets. I mean, you look at this, you look at the, the way he performed in the second half on both ends. He got the big layup. Then he had a couple free throws later. In there sandwiched was that awesome Frank Mitchell dunk. And then I thought the Bonnies were really on their way. I mean, Grahovic had the turnover, but even Robert Morris got a bucket there, but it cut it to 10. And then you're kind of going down and down and down. And by that point, there was like a minute to go. But just a lot of those late moments, Mitchell, another layup, a lot of little things, a lot of big moments, a lot of adjustments, a lot of, I thought, more aggressive nature, more focus, more rebounding in terms of this game. A couple of quick final things to say. When you look at the minutes, this starting 5 here, you had 4 guys in double figures. Bowen really wasn't a factor tonight, and he just didn't shoot the ball well, 0 for 7, maybe just didn't look comfortable with the defensive assignment. But, Simmons goes 32 minutes, 16 points. Charles goes 37-12. He's a box score stuffer and an everything guy. He reminds me of Josh Pace on that 0-2-3 Syracuse team. Just tremendous all around the floor. Charles is so great to have on this team, right? You've got Mitchell, who's just unstoppable. unreal game. And I didn't realize this until I looked, but 19 points and 16 boards. I mean, my God, that guy controls so much of the pace because he gets the boards. And it's just immediately, okay, get it, slow it down, half court. We're going to work our way, get it, go down. We got numbers. But again, you have the possession. You're dictating game script because Mitchell ends a possession or continues a possession. Just an unreal asset to have. They had, bench time. Obviously, multiple guys come off there. They had 15 points off the bench, but shot the ball well from the floor overall. They ended up making 7 out of 19 threes. They didn't shoot 25 threes, which I like. Everybody knows that. 42 rebounds to 34. They won the advantage there. And just, Big Joe coming off the bench, I honestly thought it was one of the big moments of the game. Just a complete and utter great three-pointer. It sparked them. The defense continued to clamp down, and then they executed on the other end for a big win for the Bonnies, 75-61. Up next, North Carolina. No big deal. Mike Lindsley with you. It's an ML Sports Take. It's all brought to you by our good friends at Batavia Downs Gaming, Western OTB, Stumble and Monkey Brewing Company, and right there on the screen, St. Bonaventure University's online masters in journalism. Become a Bonnie today, sbujournalism.com. Find out more about that master's program in sports and digital journalism. Long day. Let's get to the football next. As I always tell you. Oh, no, not as I always tell you. Enjoy the games. Thanks again for the support. Please support my my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's going to be close at ML Sports Platter. Please, if you're watching, hit subscribe, like all the videos, and thanks to partner friends of the show as well. Dan Davidson Jr., Dan Davidson Sr., Mark Alberti, Matt Motika, Bob Lindsley. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.